Hi, I'm John Atack. I'm not a US citizen, so I have no vote in the upcoming elections. But the president will be the most influential and the most powerful person in the world. So, in November, the future of the world will be shaped by US voters. I'm neither a Democrat nor a Republican, but I am a strong believer in democracy, and democracy may be at risk. I'd like to see a dialing down of the contempt expressed by both sides. Simplistic, polarized thinking caused the US Civil War, where 620,000 people lost their lives. In just 4 years, more lives were lost to war than during the whole of the next century. That war still plays in the background, but reduced to mythological terms, the lost cause or the bloody shirt, reduced to reasons for contempt and opposition. Hulk Hogan described the former president's followers as Trumpmaniacs. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, a mania is a vehement passion or desire, or a period of excitement affecting a body of persons. I've spent 40 years talking with passionately convinced maniacs. In a one-on-one situation, I've helped hundreds of maniacs to reconsider their views and change their beliefs. This has never been achieved through contempt or ridicule. As the butler in Downton Abbey said, we want to be convinced, not defeated. Insults and invective won't change anyone's mind, nor will any other type of attack. When we're attacked, we defend. The answer is respectful discussion, not calculated argument. Feelings have to settle before evidence can be accepted. There is mania in the sense of passion on both sides. But after 10 years of studying Trump, I'm convinced that he is not a good leader. I spent some time studying Kamala Harris, and it seems to me that she may turn out to be a very good leader indeed. Someone who can steer sensibly through the onslaught of crisis and catastrophe of the modern world. Maniacal rage is on the upswing in the US. The political parties are separating on cultic lines, and that fosters contempt. Cult members always feel superior to everyone who doesn't share their mania. Non-members also feel superior. In both cases, it is a dangerous arrogance. A few years ago, I watched in amazement as two fervent groups of US activists standing just a few feet apart yelled obscenities at each other through megaphones. Enmity permeates US politics. It is a division deliberately encouraged by extremist political pundits, not actually a grassroots sentiment. It is profoundly unhealthy. To change the election result, we must convince Trump supporters not to give him their vote. No amount of contempt will make this happen. I'd like to help to change the allegiance of enough Trump maniacs to ensure a Harris presidency. To those who insist they'll vote Republican, a vote for Trump is a vote against democracy, against the Democrats, and against the GOP. That's why so many senior Republicans have declared that they will vote for Harris. This is not about becoming a Democrat, but about preserving democracy. Trump is against democracy. He longs to be a dictator who can act on his whims without consulting even his own experts. He did this throughout his first presidency. He now says that if he wins, the people won't have to vote again. This is a chilling thought. Republicans and Democrats used to create legislation according to conscience and the wishes of their constituents. Now, they most often vote according to their political party and a simple set of beliefs. We should overcome polarization and instead work towards the benefit of the whole society. You may not have the temperament to try out this approach. Too short a fuse or an intolerance of weird and stupid ideas will be inhibiting. If so, fume with friends, shout at the TV, and keep well away from Trump maniacs, unless you see it as sport. Trump has threatened prison for his opponents. If Trump wins, Jimmy Kimmel, Seth Meyers, Jon Stewart and many hilarious others may find themselves in prison in recompense for all the fun they've poked and we've enjoyed. Most Trump believers are not idiots. They are right when they say that corruption is rife on both sides in politics. However, we either bow down to the rule of scheming, self-interested Machiavellians, or we demand honesty and transparency. It depends on whether we believe in human goodness. I'm confident that some people are genuinely good. Donald Trump is not one of them, nor is James D. Vance. To my spidey senses and after hours of investigation, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz seem to be genuinely good people with a long track record of helping others. You must start a conversation with respect for the person you're talking to. Annoyance and sarcasm won't make any progress. Curiosity might. We all try to be consistent in our opinions. Once we are committed, we keep going in the same direction. This is inertia, as it applies to belief. If you have time, look at Cialdini's 7 points of influence in Spike's graphic on jonatac.co.uk. These include consistency. Here are 4 steps which may well take 4 separate conversations. The first step is rapport. Contact anyone you've fallen out with over Trump. If you were rude, apologise, but don't expect them to respond in kind. You're here to help, not to appease your ego. It isn't about being right. It's about helping someone else to reach the right conclusion. Or you might approach someone you know to be a Trump voter and start an agreeable conversation. The word to remember is agreeable. As soon as you're disagreeable, you've lost. With a cult member, the first part of the dialogue is never about the cult. You don't want to rouse confirmation or my side bias and raise a defensive wall. When challenged, we all defend. So talk about something else. Talk about something you can agree about. Ask about the weather, or their kids, or sport, or the state of the world, and ignore anything that you disagree with. Remind them of some positive experience you've shared, or a commonly held belief. To help someone change their mind, you will need to introduce dissonance with the beliefs they already hold. If there is too much dissonance, they will shy away and simply stop listening to you. Keep it light. Be agreeable. With the second step, which is perhaps a second conversation, ask what convinced them to vote for Trump. For a cult member, this would be their moment of conversion, the moment they decided to give allegiance to the cult and its leader. It's important not to contradict. Even when you have more accurate information than the person you're talking to, you can circle back to it in a later conversation if needs be. Let them talk. When we articulate our beliefs, we often find that they are lacking. Allow them the privilege to confound themselves. Do not negate their answers. Probe more deeply. What else do they like about Trump? If you're easily frustrated, you will fail. It may take a long time for them to describe their feelings and their reasoning. The more they talk and the more you listen, the more likely they are to realize the inconsistencies in their thinking, and the more likely you are to boil over. Please don't. Remember, be agreeable. If they want to say what they don't like about Harris, steer them back. What do they like about Trump? Move on to what they think Trump has achieved. What sources of information do they trust, and why do they trust them? Where do they check facts? Don't argue. Just encourage them to air their views and feel the temperature go down. What do they think Trump will achieve if he is re-elected? At no point should you offer your own opinion if it differs from theirs. You want them to think rather than trying to think for them. Be aware that loss of face is important to everyone. Allow them to decide their own direction. And when you agree with them, express that. You may need a third meeting to reach the third step. Do they think Vance would make a good president in Trump's absence? Offer some of Vance's earlier statements consistently opposing Trump, as late as 2020, when he criticised Trump's economic policies, and some of his stranger comments since he became Trump's running mate. If someone is fixated on Trump, it's better to show that Vance has almost no experience and makes ridiculous statements. Most especially, would they trust Vance with the nuclear football? With the fourth and final step, we at last come to the problem of Donald Trump. If you've listened patiently and politely, they should by now be interested in your point of view. At last, there can be dialogue. Explain your concerns about Trump, but without invective. He's filed for bankruptcy 6 times. Having established the world's most successful casino in Atlantic City, he set up 2 more in competition with it and bankrupted them all. Trump University failed. He doesn't pay taxes. He didn't build a wall. He didn't reunite the 2 Koreas or halt Kim's nuclear program. He's on a friendly basis with Vladimir Putin. Russia has so long been the opponent of the United States, and that hasn't changed. He has a friendly relationship with President Xi. This is crazy. He didn't rebuild the manufacturing base or bring jobs back to the US. He failed to stem COVID-19, instead offering bleach injections as a solution. He was a fervent anti-vaxxer who thankfully changed his mind. He still knows nothing about Project 2025, although most of its staff previously worked for him. He really should find out about it, because it threatens democracy. Tony Schwartz, who wrote The Art of the Deal, has said, when he feels aggrieved, he reacts impulsively and defensively, constructing a self-justifying story that doesn't depend on facts and always directs the blame at others. There's plenty to choose from. Pick the issues that concern you, but express yourself with dignity and restraint. If you need, grab hold of one of the existing Trump blooper reels and maybe even watch it with the Trumpmaniac, but without any sarcastic asides. Find a reel that doesn't have commentary. Trump needs no explanation, and watching an exasperated critic seething won't help. When you are successful in opening their eyes, see if the former Trump voter will support leaving MAGA or Republicans against Trump. See if they will speak out, and show them how to foster agreeable dialogue to mend the rift in US society. Thank you so much. If you find this useful, please feel free to repost it, to link to it, or to mirror it. There's no copyright on this talk. I'm John Atack. Thank you. Hi, John here. Thanks for watching. We'd appreciate it very much if you would click like, as well as subscribe, and click the bell for notifications. Every dollar helps, and we welcome new patrons on Patreon, or you can make a one-off payment with any currency through PayPal. Thanks so much.